The year is 1320 AC. You see, a lot of previous humans created a lot of chaos, and so the current humans called this time period AC for after chaos. And this is the story of Miss Misty and Mr. Hector and Babe Newton. Okay, so things in this utopic dystopic called Zuzu. They lived in a town called Zuzu, and it was a utopic dystopic. And in this utopic dystopic, rabbits barked, dogs meowed, and rodents were treated like livestock, the royal cow. And so Mrs. Misty and Mr. Hector and Babe Newton lived in a house. Their door was made out of toilet paper rolls filled with asparagus because they believed that this kept them safe from the chaos. And so Miss Misty rolled licorice and sent it far, far, far away, but she wrote notes in the licorice telling people about the utopic, dystopic zoo. And Mr. Hector was actually doing something pretty normal, and he was taking Babe Newton to the park. And at the park, they played pickleball with real pickles. And Babe Newton was dancing across the monkey bars and swinging down the slide and playing in the sandbox. And all of a sudden, Babe Newton gets sucked up by something. Mr. Hector was playing pickleball with real pickles. You see, they were dill pickles, very bouncy, and definitely an activity that can take a little bit of time. So finally, Mr. Hector leaves his pickleball game to go find Babe Newton. Alas, he can't find Babe Newton. And so he's calling, Babe Newton. He gets the neighbors involved. They're all calling, Babe Newton. They weren't panicking yet because it wasn't uncommon in this utopic, dystopic zoo for children to get lost. But it did get to a point where he was like, I need to call Miss Misty. And so, ring, he calls up Miss Misty and is like, I can't find Babe Newton. And Miss Misty is freaking out because Miss Misty and Mr. Hector, who, by the way, were married once previously before AC, which is why they call themselves Miss Misty and Mr. Hector, to reflect the 2 times that they've been married. They, in their desire to do double, were trying to have their second child, and so she was very nervous because she didn't want to lose her only one while trying to find, or rather birth, her second child. So she leaves her licorice and she helps the search. She runs into the forest where there's bunnies that are barking at her, and she encounters this Goliath. And the Goliath looks at her and burps, belches. And Miss Misty, knowing what to do in this situation, takes in the burp and holds it in, and she runs to Mr. Hector. And she's like, and Mr. Hector knows exactly what to do in this moment. He rubs her tummy. As he rubs her tummy, this is known as an extradited infertilization vitro. And all of a sudden, she feels the pain, and she gives birth to a ween! And all the neighbors are aghast, and they're like, no weenie babies allowed. And so Mr. Hector and Miss Misty run into the forest with Babe Weenie. The end.